So that isn't one of the factors. Biodiversity is one of the big factors. And the suicide gene is a big factor in terms of subsistence farmers. But not necessarily. I don't quite see how it says that it is killing us. I don't quite see on what grounds. What it is within the genetic modification that would kill us. The food chain aspect, i.e. insects, birds, and the food chain is being destroyed, and biodiversity is being destroyed, which ultimately will affect us. But the food itself, I cannot see why that would.
See, what I find tricky is, let's say they take whatever it is in a fish to make.
That's right.
Take something inside a fish and inject it into a strawberry or whatever, right? Now, they are two separate things.
Yes, and they put it into a bacteria. And they take one gene, put it into a bacteria, and that bacteria is then put into the other thing, and therefore that gene is carried from there to there.
Right.
On that bacteria.
Right.
So the bacteriological thing is something that could threaten us. The bacterial aspect.
When we ingest it.
Possibly. But our gut should be able to deal with the bacteria.
Because we've eaten fish and we've eaten strawberries.
We should be able to deal with the bacteria. But that is how
we don't know. We don't know.
I agree, we don't know.
But
that's why we don't know.
No.
That's absolutely right. It hasn't had enough of a generational thing for us to actually assess the long-term impact of genetically modified things.
Because apparently, what they're saying, if I'm clear again, I don't know, I might have to go back to this, is that when things are mixed together like that, there's a potential that it will have a reaction, that you never really notice. So they're saying like it could be the causes of cancer.
Yeah. It can be, but I don't think anyone has yet put their finger on and said it is killing us. I don't think anyone ever has.
Well, I don't think they can yet.
I don't think they can because it hasn't been going,
trials over a 20-year period, for instance.
There's not been enough on a genetically 25-year program so that we can see the effect on our children and on our children's children.
I mean, that's
when it really will show. Is through a generational thing. It's whether our genes are modified in any shape or form by it. That is when it will show, only as a generational thing.
Yeah, you won't get an instant.
You won't get an instant because it is our genetic.
Also,
there was a book
something
called
like
Future Shock, which I read again in the 70s, and I remember reading a chapter in there that before genetically modified was ever thought of, Alvin Toffler in 1973, and it's a whole chapter, and I remember sitting there with my jaw open going, fuck, that is what we can now do. And the parameters are only what society puts on it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
not only can you modify plants, you can modify
bodies, humans,
animals, and they are.
Yeah.
Mice, they are genetically modifying. After all, we had the goat, didn't we? Dolly the sheep.
Yeah.
So yes, the implications are vast. I mean, what Toffler describes in Future Shock is how our genes, and let's say a fish gene or a frog gene, could enable us to breathe underwater. And I remember thinking in 1973, don't be silly. And then I read it again, I thought, hang on, he's not being silly. This is now. And from then on, I've been watching it going, oh yeah.
See, that, I mean, we're thinking minds are trained to be sceptical. I think we're trained now to be sceptical because we're so misled by the media and all of that. So you have to ask questions. No, exactly, because it might actually be the answer, but we just don't know. And how do you test that? Because you could eventually, long term, modificate the perfect human. And what is that? Someone that lives 150 years a healthy life. What?
Yeah, who's going to support that?
Yeah.
Do you know, it kind of seems to me like we're doing the same thing we've always done, from the beginning of time.
Someone has said, what do we learn from history? We don't learn anything. That's what we've learned from history. we go on repeating the same things over and over again, and when you're as old as me, you just go, whatever.
Same but different. But
It's the
we
same,
talked
same
about
but
this, and
different.
you said eventually, or was it you and I having this conversation? But it was, eventually something has to change.
Yeah,
'Cause
something
not
will coalesce, but it usually, unfortunately, is total social upheaval. That's usually what changes something.
Yes, like
And
a revolution.
That's where I go, war. That's when things dramatically change. But in the process, lives are destroyed.
Yes.
Humanity is destroyed, and we set the seeds of the next destruction.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
So I
just
don't
say
know.
it's
You
a-
know,
it is
I
a
know
happy
we are now
balance of
believing
being-
in nature because we want to. You see, we are an animal that believes itself to be an angel, and that is what we are constantly trying to keep in balance. The fact that we believe ourselves to be higher than nature, but we are natural, and this is the ethos of today. That we are animal, but we don't really, we've still got this Victorian hangover that being animal is a little bit...
Oh, but we're intelligent animals with big brains.
So are dolphins.
Yeah.
So are dolphins. That doesn't... It's not the big brain. Dinosaurs had bigger brains than us.
Dinosaurs didn't.
They had more than one brain.
No, they couldn't smell very well. I'm really
They had
good,
more.
you.
They
Why
had
do you think
three
the
brains.
flowers with their scent came and killed the dinosaurs?
Oh yeah?
According to Marcel Duchamp.
He's a man to be believed.
Oh, it's so brilliant. I'm reading this brilliant book at the moment.
Is this a
and
small
it's-
history of the world?
No, this is a jitterbug perfume. It's
Bless
what's the word that we use to smell?
Olfactory.
Olfactory sense.
The-
He
the-
believes
what
that our brains are as big because we've got room. We've got lots of
Well, we've got
our brain
reptilian,
that we don't use.
reptilian, mammalian, and the light.
Yeah.
That's what he says. We've got
Yeah.
3 levels of brain, haven't we?
But my point is, we've learnt so much that we need more storage space in our brains and our minds. In a way, we
Brain
are
and
still
mind are separate.
evolving.
Brain and mind aren't the same thing.
But mind is part of the brain.
We're still trying to work that one out.
Oh, there you go. There's lots of unanswered questions.
Yeah, that's it.
So,
Saffron says
more-
we've only got questions, we haven't got answers.
Yeah. We have to understand the question before you can form an answer.